Ah, traveler, you've come far to find fire in the dark. I am the voice of the realm, keeper of forgotten tales and truths buried in sand. This is the Chronicle of Valorian, a village carved from dust and nearly lost to it. But from ruin rose something greater, a builder, spark, a legend. Listen well, for this is how Seloria was born. Before Seloria, there was only Ash. He was born not of royalty, but ruin, a builder whose home fell to dragonfire. Flames swallowed the streets, roofs fell like thunder, and the air burned with the cries of a dying home. He carried no riches, no sword, no shield, only the will to survive. To stop was death, to look back was worse. So he ran through smoke, through fire, through everything he'd ever known, and the past burned behind him. He climbed through ash, through silence, through the edge of the world itself, and then he saw it, a village forgotten by time, cracked walls, faded banners, flickers of firelight in the dark. Valorian, not yet home, not yet hope, but something in his soul knew this was where the story would begin. He crossed the threshold of silence and entered the bones of a broken world. No banners, no welcome, only wind and watching eyes. Then he appeared, tall, warmed by the sun, eyes like ember stone. This was Velkin Thornshade, a mason of the old ways, keeper of stone and silence.
You're not from here, and we don't know your name. The last stranger who came with promises left us with graves to tend. So we don't offer trust, but we offer a roof, what's left of one. You'll take the abandoned house at the edge of the square. You build alone, we'll watch. Maybe, in time, the wind will speak for you.
Velkin, who is this stranger?
We will see!
He said nothing, only nodded, and walked through dust, through silence, through the gaze of a village that had forgotten how to hope. At the edge of the square, he found it. Walls, cracked, windows, empty, a door, still standing. He stepped inside, and for the first time since the fire, he was no longer running. He laid down his bed, not to rest, but to begin. The air still smelled of dust and memory, but his hands remembered purpose. Stone by stone, wall by wall, he would prove who he truly was. Not a stranger, not a survivor, a builder, and the first to believe that Seloria could rise. The winds had shifted, the air no longer whispered doubt, but something else, respect, curiosity, and quiet awe.
Velkin, the house stands again. I did what I could.
Stone remembers the hand that shapes it. You have done more than rebuild stone and timber. You've awakened something that was asleep in all of us. The walls you raised, the fire you brought back. They speak louder than words ever could. The people have seen you, Kyleth, and they no longer see a stranger. But before you are truly one of us, there remains a trial. To the east, beyond the dunes, stands the temple of Vareth Tal'Vuun, the silent forge. Long ago, it held the heart of our ancestors, a treasure only a true builder can claim. Many have entered, none have returned. Prove yourself, Kyleth, not with stone, but with soul.
His footsteps echoed like whispers, the air thick with memory. Every stone seemed to watch him, every shadow remembered something he did not. This was no test of strength, no trial of combat. This was a temple of creation, and only those who understood that could find what lay within. The heart of Seloria had once been kept here, a relic of vision, of power, of purpose, and legend claimed that only a true builder could awaken it. If he was found worthy, the forge would answer. If not, it would bury him in silence. And so, Kyleth placed his hand upon the stone. The ground trembled, not with anger, but with recognition. A pulse echoed through the floor, a heartbeat. The forge was alive. From deep within, the forge spoke in a voice not heard in centuries, not with words, but with warmth. A warmth that spread up his arm, into his chest, into memory itself. He returned home, but he was not the same. The desert still whispered, the winds still watched. But now he carried the ember seed. Beneath his house, fire waited, not the fire that burned his past, but the one that would shape his future. With iron, with diamond, with the stone of the silent forge, he shaped a tool not to mine, but to carve destiny. The villagers would one day call it Vareth Tal'Vuun, the stone of echoes, forged not in haste, but in memory, a builder's first gift to a world still healing.
By the light of the twin moons, may your hands stay steady. You've done what no soul has dared in 100 years. Vareth Tal'Vuun, they speak of it in whispers. Not just a pickaxe, a symbol, a spark, and with it, the village breathes again. But I bring more than praise. The temple of Vareth Tal'Vuun stirred when you entered it. And the Ender Dragon felt it. He sends creatures, twisted, scorched by flame, to corrupt what you've reclaimed. The forge is lit. Now, we must defend it. May the winds guard your path until we speak again.
And there in the air drifted Vorlus the ash-sworn, a century of cursed fire, eyes like dying stars. Vorlus screamed, not in pain, but triumph, a final command to destroy. The blast tore the sand and cracked the temple's western wall. It was not a battle, it was a delay. Kyleth moved fast, but the arrows hunted him, not guided by skill, but by memory, by the shadows of 1,000 battles past. He would not win this fight by rushing in. He had to outthink it, outlast it. He ran not in fear, but in invitation, out into the moonlit sands, where the arrows would have no shadows to hide in. In the silence that followed, Threnniel stood still, then dropped bones scattering across the dune. For the first time, his eyes were empty. The temple still stood, barely, but Caliph stood taller than ever. And so, beneath stars unblinking, the builder stood alone. Amid the ruins, he refused to let die. One enemy vanquished, but the shadow still coils beyond the sands. This is only the beginning of Caliph's tale. If your heart stirred with the fire of old stories, if you felt the wind shift in the desert with his every step, then join us. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and return to hear what comes next. For this is the voice of the realm, and the story is far from over.